And welcome to the Rainbow Bridge, episode 12. My name is Rena Dwelly. I am a certified diamond dowser and inner diamond practitioner. I assist people in clearing physical, mental, and emotional blocks in their mind, body, soul, as well as their environments. Through this work, I help people raise the energetic frequency of their environments and themselves, which allows for direct access to the law of attraction. Today, I am so excited. We have a special guest. My friend Yves LeBlanc is joining us today. He is an intuitive healer and creator, of an amazing modality called Cosmic Overflow. He is also one of our beloved show hosts here on the Akashic Academy. His show is called Awakening the Warrior. So before we get started, I want to invite you guys to hit like, hit love, and be sure to share this message out. You just never know who's going to need to see this. All right, Yves, you want to tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Well, okay, I'm going to kind of share how I became a healer. That was, I guess, a bit my story from that. I always thought I was going to be a personal trainer, which I did for about 6 months until I really had too much anxiety and couldn't work it anymore, the whole sales thing. And then really I just found myself going to this person for an exchange, and she had like a business kind of healing program. I'm like, okay, let's do that. And eventually I thought I would just like cut out the middleman and get my own certification. And like that was just kind of like a can of worms. And then one certification, another, you can pick up a few books on the Akashic records. Next thing you know, your house is like flooded with all kinds of like crystals, cards, and like you're just off the deep end.
For sure.
And yeah, I mean, it was just been this incredible journey. I always found it's powerful. Like last week, I ended up doing my Reiki 2 certification. And whenever the teachers ask me, why am I here? And I'm like, I have no idea. I know it's gonna be a really powerful weekend because every time I've been to like something that's really aligned myself with me, I felt that like it wasn't really a decision. It was just like I just had to show up, and and that's where I'm just kind of doing this, showing up, and yeah, we're gonna have some fun today.
Well, we think you're just amazing, Yves. You're just showing up at all the right places and, really trusting your intuition. You're being such a great example for all of us to learn to trust that inner voice leading us forward on our path. So today, Yves and I want to talk about some of our favorite spiritual tools. I know he has quite a few, so let's hear it.
Well, lately, the ones I've been using the most have been oracle cards. I've done a bit of tarot cards as well, or not as much, and they're still kind of on a personal level. Actually, what I'll do is I will show you guys. I'll do a general reading for people watching and like live with the replay. Would that be all right?
That would be so amazing. I think everyone would love that.
And what I started doing is combining multiple decks, and I find that every deck has their own kind of specialty or flavor. And then when you get an additional deck, you're getting additional insights into like kind of layers of depth. Kind of like, like a cake's better when it's got like chocolate in the middle, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the first deck I'll use today really quickly is the Archangel Michael deck. It's a Durian Virtue deck. And then, you know what? I'll pull out. I'm going to pull out my three that I use mostly. It's the Shaman Oracle deck is the other one, and then the Enchanted Map.
Wow, very cool.
Wow, this is going to be fun. So
I'm not sure I've seen any of those. So this is exciting for me too. I'm a reader too, so I have about 21 decks, and I'm always looking to add more friends.
21. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of doing something here, and you know how people have books they don't read anymore, they read them, they don't use them. I was thinking having like a oracle card exchange with friends and just like bring and like put the ones you don't want on the table and then pick one up. And I'm like, I think this is cool. They're just like same thing with crystals, right? Sometimes like you can tell like, a crystal or something, it's not yours anymore. You don't know where it belongs, you don't know whose it is, but you're like, it's not mine.
Yes, I totally get that. Like a magical tool exchange. That's beautiful. I would be game for that.
Yeah, too Too bad we don't live very close.
Mailing, it would still work out.
Hmm. So I know that a lot of people have been going through a lot of junk these past few days. The first card I pulled is that prayer will make this situation better. And really, it's putting it out to the universe, knowing that you don't have to figure everything out yourself. Often figure things out, it actually causes us more anxiety than anything else because some of these things, like, they're not logically going to resolve themselves. Like, it's really divine intervention, and like the way the divine works is you have to ask. And they're like kind of like, if you picture like this army of angels up there, they're all just waiting. Like, all right, whenever he or she says go, like, we're gonna go, like, get that, bring that there. Like, they've got a plan, and you're just like waiting for you to ask.
We forget the free will thing, where we have this free will, and nobody's going to stop us until we say, hey, wait a minute, we need a little bit of help here. So.
And yeah, like I was saying, it's going to move. The second card I pulled is the movement card that one was from the map, enchanted map, which I find is really good for guidance and direction. Cool. The Archangel Michael cards they're really like what you need to hear, and they don't mess around. They're very direct. You're like, stop what you're doing now.
That's awesome.
Kind of thing. And then a bit of extra here. I got the Talisman card, which is reversed. And if I remember this one correctly, the Talisman is usually about, following your inner guidance as the key source, but I will just check on that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's talking about being aware of repetitive patterns. And this is what I'm seeing with a lot of my clients, a lot of people right now, is that a lot of patterns that didn't serve us, and we try to justify them and keep them and hold on to them. And like Spirit's like, no, like, we're going to make this difficult until you choose to change that pattern. And so really things want to move, and if they really want to move, and if you're preventing them from moving, like, that's really when things get sticky.
Right.
And we'll get our kind of like, these shaman cards are all with these like nice and cave art.
Beautiful.
And we're going to get the last 2 or 3 cards from that deck to kind of like tell you which emotions and which spirits can call on to really move forward in life right now. Stuck, we're asking for prayers, we're asking for stuff. We don't see how to get out of the pattern. And this one is really great because on the other side of all this junk is abundance. I've pulled this card 3 times in the past day and a half. So all my readings, like, abundance is coming, guys. Like, it's really like, you just got to follow your signs.
Yes.
Now, here's the difficult part, though, is like the Shaman of Sorrows, and it's going to mean that you might have to grieve something. So I'll share with you right now, I've had to move out of my physical location. I had a lot of ideas and plans that didn't quite, work out as I planned. But I do realize there's a grieving process with that. It's the same thing with anything that doesn't work out, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, or a business, or like any idea. You do have that grieving process. But really, like, when you get these 3 cards that I'm getting, or this kind of is a bit of a glare. That's the Hunter of Dreams. And remember, we pulled the Hunter of Abundance.
Yeah.
So really, like, we're looking at, building your dreams and really get that abundant lifestyle, but it just means that you need to process stuff. So I don't know about you, but I've been seeing a lot of people processing a lot of heavy stuff, and not just recent stuff. I mean, like, stuff from 5, 10, like, I don't know, maybe even 20 years ago. Exactly. So a lot of stuff is really like what's going on right now, and like, you don't have to do it alone. So going back to that first card, it's really like asking for help and praying for help. And really, things are going to move. It's just to clear out all that old junk. And then, all the beautiful stuff is on the other side.
And, Archangel Michael is perfect for assisting with that release of these old patterns, these old wounds, him and his amazing blue sword, he's there to help us cut these cords and be able to move forward. So that's really an incredible and beautiful message. I really like that. Very cool.
It's fun how you can kind of just layer them and like get different messages from the different decks. It's something I really enjoy doing.
Definitely. Since we're talking about decks, I don't know if you've seen this deck. This is one of my most favorites. Got to get the camera angle. Patch Tarot by Spirit Science. I don't know if you're a Spirit Science fan. You can find lots of their really cool videos on YouTube. They're just one of my favorite. These cards are gorgeous. Again, we have, sorry guys, a glare. I'm going to shuffle and pull a card. I'll just do message of the day for everyone, if that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I do that. I think it's funny that I think it's been card week on the Akashic Academy. I saw I think Emily had cards, and I pulled some cards on my show on Tuesday. No, sorry, Christy. I meant Christy. I don't know. Did Emily have cards too? I don't know. It seems to be card week on the Academy.
Oh. I'm gonna be terrible and admit that that I missed some shows. We have the 4th of July here in America, and families home and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, all right. The card I pulled, Princess of Wands, Enthusiastic. So this is your message today. Find what you're passionate about and charge forward with enthusiasm.
I think that's great. It really builds on the kind of finding your passion, dreams, and abundance of the ones that I pulled, right?
Absolutely.
So now it's a 4-deck reading.
Exactly. Yeah, I love cards too. I love pulling cards. I do it for myself every day. One of my favorite readings that I do just for myself is what do I need to know? Where do I need to go? And what do I need to see? Kind of my daily, what do I need to be aware of? Where do I put my energies? I think it's pretty cool. It helps me see a lot of things and be able to prepare for things, mentally even. What should I meditate on before I head out the door?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, whenever, and I guess we're talking about different tools. I've used muscle testing, a lot of the kinesthetic stuff. And what I found for really developing my intuition is that now I can not just be is this a good idea, yes or no? I've done the lean test is the one I really use the most. My go-to when I'm really not sure, my reliable one. But then you can ask questions like you said, what's my next step? And I use the question, what will bring me peace? So talking to God, spirit, what will bring me peace? Because really, when you think about it, do you have peace if you're not paying bills? No. Do you have peace if you're, injured or in pain? No. Do you have peace if your relationship's in the shitter? No. And peace really encompasses everything. So, once you have that intuition developed or a bit more clairvoyance, clairaudience, what will bring me peace? And then you'll get a message. I'll get a glimpse of my car. I'm okay, where am I going? Then I get in the car and I see grocery store. I'm okay, get to the grocery store and then all right, well, what am I getting? All right, apples, cool. And
I love that.
I might not eat the apples for 3 days, but next thing you know, someone's wouldn't apple pie be great? Yeah.
That is so cool.
And I've got apples because I just followed these signs, car, grocery store, apples.
You're a free spirit. I totally love that. And I mean free in the sense that you are totally spirit guided. So many of us have this, we have to go to A and B and C. We have all these little things and then maybe add in spirit there. But I love that you're totally spirit guided to go to the grocery store and get apples.
Well, it wasn't easy at first. I went to the gym once and I did one set and then I left. I'm really, spirit? Come on, what? That's it? You brought me here just for one set? But it was an exercise. It's called Skin the Cat. It's more of a gymnastics thing where you hang backwards and it's really my shoulders are kind of messed up. So I could see how it made sense after I kind of calmed down a bit. But then the thing is, when we look at these connecting the dots, is they don't make sense going forward. They never do.
Right.
And you can ask for clarity. So when you're not sure, let's say you're getting a message from spirit, you're okay, this doesn't make sense. This is where these tools come in, where you can ask different messages or ask for clarity. I had one time where I got a message that I need to bring a book the next office over. And they're teaching a CPR class. And I'm really? I'm supposed to just walk in, hey, I don't know if any of you guys you're sorry, I know you're teaching CPR. I don't know if anyone wants to learn about the 7 effective habits of highly effective people. If so, here's the book. A ghost told me to give it to you guys.
Definitely.
Like, okay, no, that's not peaceful. I'm like, all right, like, well, what's my message? So then instead, I'm like, oh, okay. I take a business card, I write free on the back of it, and then I just go and put it next to my sign that's right next to the washroom, so people are going to pee eventually.
Right.
And then I came back the next day and the book was gone, right?
Wow, I love that.
But it's like, sometimes we get a sign, if it doesn't feel peaceful, like, it's because
Yeah,
our mind runs with it, right? Our ego is really quick to be like, oh, so I need to bring the book. Oh, I need to bring it over there right now and disturb the class, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, like, spirit is peaceful.
definitely. That's a beautiful message. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
As far as muscle testing, I do the lean test too, where I say, show me yes, show me no. Okay, how else can you do it?
All right, I'm going to teach you
How
guys.
else do you do it? Maybe that's a better.
I can teach you 3 or 4 different ones really quickly. Because I got tired of, like, every time I need to muscle test something, like, to, stand up, sit down, like, be meditating, like, all right, I need to answer, stand up, and I was just gonna throw everything off.
Right.
So what I did is, through theta healing, which was my first modalities, I gave myself, like, a program that instead of that I could muscle test with my eyes. So I'm like, oh, well, like, what makes sense? Like, eyes, yes for up for yes, no for down. Like, you can be as creative as long as you can really put your intent on it. You can create your own kind of muscle test.
Wow. I never even considered that. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, it was kind of weird though, because like because every time my eyes would go up, my friends would be like, "So, what's going on?" Like, guys, like, fuck off.
Definitely, I can see that.
What are you getting right now? I'm like, it's personal. A few other ones really quickly. So, if your hands aren't too sweaty, if you just simply do this and with enough friction, and you feel the amount of friction between your fingers, and you say a true statement. So, like, I would go, "My name is Eve," and just you would go test with your name.
My name is Rena. Okay.
And then say something that's false. Say, like, "My name is Jack."
My name is Steve. Okay, that's interesting.
So that people experience that one a bit differently. Some people it just stops, like the fingers don't move. Other people will experience a bit of friction. I've had people that instead of going this way, they'll kind of go sideways.
You know what I felt? When I said the true statement, I felt heat, kind of like that Reiki energy.
Yeah.
And when I said the false statement, it got really cold, like ice cold.
So yeah, because like what happens, like, and that one's really cool too if you want to do it at a restaurant. Like, if you like don't want to take out your pendulum, or you don't want to do the sway test, like, should I get the salad or the pizza or whatever, like, right? Like, you don't want to just be standing in the middle of a restaurant. So you can do that, like, off the table. You can be talking to someone. Like, this one is like the most discreet one ever. So that's one of my favorite to teach people as well. It's really cool what you were saying though, because I found myself at a career fair at a junior high school like a month and a half ago, and I'm like, they know I do energy, right? Like, I used to do personal training stuff too. Like, so it was like basically like flight college, university, me.
I love it.
So I'm like, all right, what am I gonna like talk about? Like, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get kids to play with energy.
Yes.
And really, like, what happens is when we say it's true, our energy expands, like you said with Reiki energy, like it got hot. And when we say something is false, it shrinks. So what I did is, like, you can also do that. Like, I'm going to try to get on the screen here. You get someone to put their arm up and resist when you push it down.
Oh, yeah.
And they say something true, like they're solid. But as soon as they tell a lie, like, their arms just kind of swing down. Like it's like it just drops. Wow. So I would pick like the biggest kid that I could find, the biggest guy, like kind of different sizes in middle school. And like, do you know you guys have a built-in lie detector? Like, what?
That's cool.
And as soon as the arm would drop on the big guy, kids would be like, whoa, and they're like, try it. But really, it's just our energetic field that's like, it knows truth, it knows peace.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Don't tell my mom.
It's funny. I did like the other thing too, just to feel like the energy.
Yeah.
And I asked a few kids, like, you guys want to feel energy? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like one kid was like, no. Like, kind of like this disgust. Like, you can tell that you've probably already been conditioned that, like, all that is like the devil or something. I don't know. I was like, okay, well, your 6 friends are going to do it, and I'm going to teach them and have fun standing there.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
but
Okay.
but that was it, right? Not everyone's open to it, and like
Yeah.
I think it's cool when we can, bring this to younger generations on their level, and like
Well, and they're so open, and they're definitely a different. I'm not sure what the word is. I look at my son compared to me, and I know I'm older than he is now,
Mhm.
but the world is different for these kids where they're already learning the quantum field work, the quantum physics. So this is totally easy for them to tap into, and it's really fun for them to tap into and work with too. So
And that's why I love cards so much, because like I got a little nudge that I had to do a reading for my mom, and like my mom's just like totally not into this at all, like, and like different stuff I've heard her say, I'm like, ooh, okay, like,
yeah.
and well, spirit, I can't do like a 6 card reading for my mom, like, come on, and like clarification, just do 1 card. I'm like, oh, okay, and like, and she's like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, well, it's kind of like a horoscope. You read it, like it can help you like figure out what to do, like, or you can just like read it, and like it doesn't really matter. Like it's up to you. And she picked a card, and like I read from the book, and then later on that night, she was like, "Oh, what was my card again? What did it say about that thing?" And like, so like she had been like connecting with it throughout the day.
That's really
Like,
cool.
cards are very much a gateway.
Yeah, they really are.
Cards and stones.
I'm very lucky in the sense that my family is very supportive. I mean, they probably were like, "Wow, this daughter of mine, or my granddaughter, or whatever, my niece is pretty strange." But they gave me a chance, and they just kind of, when I especially started doing readings on Facebook, they kind of just sat back and just watched and realized. I think they were able to see that it's not the stereotypical scary, that it's very spirit guided and beautiful.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about muscle testing, one of my favorite tools that I use are my dowsing rods. So I can say, is my name Rena? Yes. See, it swings right open. And I also use these to, when I come into your house and I do diamond dowsing, this is what I use to search for energetic disturbances, positive vortexes, negative vortexes, EMF, and then I know where to lay my cures down. So that's my tool. It's not exactly as small as a pendulum. I do have pendulums, but this is actually my career tools, so that's pretty cool. I just had to share that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I used to do muscle testing. I used to get my clients to do a lot of muscle testing too. And what I found is like when they're working with me is like couldn't explain it at first, but I kind of tap into their field. So like I'll ask people to like, all right, like, well, tell me more about this. Like give me like the 3 reasons you think this. And like when the one that I need to work with or the one that's true, it's almost like I get this like kind of like
Wow.
yeah, and like so yeah, like when you get to learn that, especially when you're connecting with someone, like stuff just sounds off. Like when they say something that's true. So like when you think of body language, when people lie, they tend to shrink.
Yes. And their eyes move too, right? You've heard that where they like shift to the left or shift to the, like they kind of dart back and forth.
Yeah, that one's the psychology's actually studied that, and some people are reversed, but for the most, I don't remember which one's which, but basically when you tap into your creative side versus tapping into your memory, your eyes go in different directions. So when for visual it's up, and for sounds it's actually down. If I remember that correctly.
Okay.
My psych degree is a few years back.
Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating.
But yeah, it's like you can, when you get in touch with these things, like you don't need a lie detector. Like people talking, they're like you'll hear it in their voice. They're like, oh well, like and sorry, can't go this weekend.
Oh, they get real small and closed off.
They get small and closed off, and you'll notice when people get small and closed off. Like actually, another one that I like to work with. If people haven't seen this book yet, I really recommend it to everyone.
Wow.
It's Animal Spirit Guides by Stephen D. Farmer, and by far, like it's the best definitions. When I look something up, I see it. I'm like, okay, I need to look it up. And the reason I brought this one up is squirrel. When you see squirrels, like it's like, all right. And one thing that squirrel says, or chipmunks, is to pay attention to people's tone. You know, because people
Ah,
might be trying to deceive you. I'm like, okay, like I'm seeing a lot of chipmunks. Like, what's going on? Like, and someone's talking about something, and they'll be like, oh, like tone going. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like your tone changed when you talked about this.
that's fascinating. By the way, I love squirrels. My father-in-law, he lives right next door. He makes them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's pretty adorable.
Nice. I'm kind of curious. What other? Like, I can't see the comments on the guest spot, but what kind of tools are other people using?
Yeah, I'm curious if you guys want to pop in and let us know what kind of tools you guys love to use. Teresa says, yes, I've heard that with the eyes, the memory, creative, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly popped in to say, very cool. My beautiful friend Judy Huffman says, kids are evolving. And
Mm-hmm.
there was another comment here. Let me just scroll down a little bit. Deborah Knight, I love muscle testing. I use the lean test all the time. You know, that was really honestly the only one I was ever taught, and just in a class, you know, just kind of quick, like, you know, ask your body. It was like, wow, that's kind of mind blowing. But yeah, when you walk through the grocery store asking if you need this or that, you
Yeah, yeah.
know what I'm saying?
There's another one that like a lot of people like. It's you basically pinch your index and middle finger, or and you basically go like this. And if you're able to keep that tension, like you want to hold it like you were just able to hold $100 bill,
Okay.
enough tension, and then you do like a statement, like again, like my name's Eve, and like it should hold. And then when you say my name's Stephanie, you'll see that you're not able to maintain that tension between your fingers.
That makes sense.
So
Okay.
that one's a cool, like discreet one too that you can kind of do
Yeah.
even in a grocery store without be like, oh, like should I get the spinach? Yes. Should I get the black pepper?
Exactly. Yeah,
No. You know, they kind
you
of
know
just they're
exactly.
swaying, and people are like, is he drunk?
What in the world is happening over there?
I'm high on spirit. Woo!
Exactly. Kirath, sorry. Dowsing rods, pendulum, and cards are his tools. Michelle Green says, I love tarot, runes, and crystals. You must have some crystals there. I know I have tons of crystals over here. What do you got over there, Eve? You got anything close that you can show us?
Yeah,
I have something really cool I would like to show as far as crystals with you too.
I've got a few. You know, I'm not really the greatest at remembering names. I kind of just pick up the ones I know I need. This one
Yeah.
I got a while back. It's pink kyanite. Um,
Ooh, yeah, I love kyanite. Kyanite is a really important family healer, one of the most
okay.
important healers. It's incredible.
I've got a citrine here as well.
I love citrine, all about abundance.
And this one, I believe, is my friend gave it to me. Is yeah. Speaking of abundance, is a jade.
Oh yes, beautiful, beautiful. Michelle Green, I just got to tell you, she says spiritual grocery shopping. Yes.
Well, you know what? Like seriously, yes. Like I lost 10 pounds like a month and a half just like by following like spiritual eating or spiritual grocery shopping.
I
Like,
love that. I love that. I think we should all start doing that.
oh yeah, totally. Like I would advise everyone to kind of follow its spirit. And like really the more you can connect with spirit, the more you can be guided. Because like when you think about it, like you think of like I don't know how many people have actually tried to lose weight before, if we've tried to go on a diet,
Oh
and
yeah.
you look at the info out there. Like some people say drink milk, some people say don't drink milk. You have even water, like how many glasses of water should you drink, and like like half your body weight in ounces, and like there's like eight
Right.
glasses a day. There's so many different things, and then like oh this mineral is good for this, but it's bad for that. And coffee and wine and all these things, and like if you try to sit down, like I tried to make myself a rotation diet once, where like you only eat a certain food and you don't eat it for another 4 days.
Yeah.
And like I tried to plan it out for the week, and I could just give myself a headache.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's like, all right, spirit, like, well, bring me peace. And they're like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, and like pick up a few things and like,
Apples, dude.
yeah, I need apples, right? The big surprise for me though was like, all right, like, should I eat before or after my client? And the answer was no. I'm like, oh, I'm like, ooh, I guess I'm doing fasting today. All right.
Wow. And that's true. We all have such different body chemistries and we all need such different things in our diet. Maybe you need all greens and maybe I need all like carrots and squash. I mean, if we would ask our spirits to help us choose the groceries and the nourishment we need, what else is possible, right?
I'll put a disclaimer out there too that like before you take any big dietary changes, you should consult with your physician, right?
Yes.
So I'm not saying ignore all that stuff. Like, do check with your physician before you make any big changes. But this is a tool that you could help to guide yourself, and like not doing any radical shifts right away, but it's over time. And like even what you were saying with like what I need and you need can be different. Like yesterday, like loading salt when I was cooking, and like I was like, this is weird. I'm like, oh yeah, I've been sweating all day. Okay, this makes sense.
Yes, totally.
Because otherwise, like I haven't used that much salt when I cook usually, but I'm like,
yeah,
salting the fish, salting the veggies, salting the rice, and I was like, holy shit! Like, oh yeah, like sweat. Okay.
right, exactly.
Spirit knew.
I don't know if you can see this guy. I'm gonna try to get him really close and in the camera angle. This is my fluorite dragon. I got him at my favorite crystal shop when I was down in the Black Hills for my Inner Diamond Cosmic meditation retreat. And speaking of which, my sister-in-law, Brenda, she's so cool. I got to tell you this amazing story while we're talking about this, because it all kind of goes hand in hand. So my husband's daughter got married this weekend on June 30th. And June 30th is a big day where Venus, goddess Venus, her twin flame comes back to Earth. His presence comes back to Earth to connect in and help raise the vibe, right? So I knew Kayla was getting married on this day, and I knew she was super busy. So Monday morning when my husband was home, we called her and I said, Kayla, can I ask how you guys chose this day? And she's got her husband on speakerphone too. And they're just this amazing couple. And she goes, it was really just a process of elimination. We wanted to make sure that we, were able to go on our honeymoon trip. They're traveling the US, stopping at all these amazing destinations. So they're gone for 5 weeks. So they kind of wanted the perfect planning, right? So I told her this story about Sanatkumara coming to Earth. And when his presence comes back to Earth, he comes twice a year. So June 30th and December 31st. And there's always big celebrations. There's lots of love and light and happiness. And, June is one of the biggest wedding months. So that makes sense there. December 31st, at least for us here, that's New Year's, right? New Year's, yeah. So it totally makes sense. So I was telling her this story, and her husband, Danny, is so cool. This brought my husband to tears. It was just the sweetest moment. He said, the processional song that Kayla walked down the aisle to was called Venus. How cool is that? So yeah, she mentioned that story. So I had to tell that. It was so good. It was
what's funny is like, when I looked at, like, when I started my show, The Awakening Warrior, it was a full moon, which is known as like the masculine kind of energy. And it was also like the first day of like I forget what planet shifted in the astrology. Like it was like a first day of like a 7-year shift.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And like that's the day, like I randomly, like before, I'm like, yep, this date's when I'm starting. And how many times have I gone to something like on a full moon or something, and I get there and they're like, and someone's like, oh yeah, and you picked it on the full moon, and they're talking to whoever hosted it, or myself, and I've hosted things, and they're like, oh yeah, it's a full moon. And like people are like, oh, I just thought like the 16th was a cool day. Like,
that's really cool day. Yeah, really. That's an awesome story.
I've seen that happen like at least 5 or 6 times where like I get somewhere and they're like, yeah, it's so cool that you're doing this on the full moon. And they're like, oh, it's a full moon.
How amazing. Definitely.
Our subconscious talks a lot more, or subconscious and spirit talks a lot more than we're cognizant of it. Like we were like, well, from choosing a date, like, all right, like let's do something on September 23rd, and like, but we're doing something on September 23rd, and look it up now, it's probably a full moon, like.
Exactly. You're right. It's amazing when you start doing stuff like that. It just kind of all this magic conspires and it just works out so perfectly and beautifully. And even if you break it down to numerology, you know, I was breaking Kayla's wedding date down to numerology, and you know, 6 + 3 for June 30th. That, you know, is a cycle of completion. So she's met her perfect match. And then you add in the added number of, it's an 11 year, so 2 + 0 + 1 + 8, that's 11, right? We add that to 9, that creates 20. You break that down to 2, that's partnership. So, you know, I was like, oh girl, I could just go on forever telling her all this. I'm like, I better let you go. You know, just so amazing. Such good stuff.
And someone was teaching me a lot more about tarot because like I'm new to it. And they were saying how they eat, even those like numerologies, the more you know about numerology and astrology, the more depth you're able to get from tarot cards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Yves, it looks like our half hour is a little past. I should probably wrap things up here. If you guys are interested in connecting with me or Yves, you know, Yves, make sure you go back and put your information on how to connect with these beautiful souls who joined us. I'm sure we would both love to visit with you about what we do, how we do it, and how we can help you transform your life. I also want to invite you to become an Akashic Academy member. Go to theakashicacademy.com, connect with Emily, ask her about becoming a member. It's $11.11 a month, and inside of the special private group, you receive bonus sessions and education hosted by Coach Nick, her amazing business partner, and our beautiful founder, Emily Harrison. And also, you should just go to theakashicacademy.com. Our new edition of the Akashic magazine just came out on July 1st. So lots of good stuff in there. Are you in there, Yves? I haven't read the whole thing yet. Awesome. So make sure you're checking out his article. And, you know, just connect with our amazingly supportive community. We have a lot of people who just have so much love and light to share with you guys. Up later tonight, we have Andrea Stepanowski with Sacred Chakra Flow. She is on at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Thank you all so much for joining me and Yves today. We are so blessed for your presence. Yves, thank you for being my amazing guest.
You're very welcome. And one last little thing, I pulled this little card before we leave, is the Hunter of Vision. So really now is the time to figure out what you're wanting and getting for, because it's like, we're manifesting faster and faster, so figure out what you really want.
It's huge, it's beautiful, and there's lots coming. You just have to open your arms and be ready to receive.
And thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
It was a blast. We got to do this again.
For sure.